first code to animate one of this face. And so I'm gonna make this button bigger so we could see this a little better. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this tool, and I'm holding shift. I'm gonna resize this. I'm gonna change the text inside here to say face 1 or emote 1. How about that? Emote 1. And then okay, now I'm gonna make a new folder. I'm gonna control click or right click, create a folder. I'm gonna call this folder scripts. Okay, and then I'm gonna open this up and I'm gonna create a script. So I'm gonna right click here, control click, and say create C# script. And I'm gonna say, I'm gonna call this thing Emoji 1 script. Okay, I'm gonna put the word button in front of it. Button Emoji 1 script. That's kind of a long name, but let's go with that, okay? Because we can do this a lot of different ways, but this one's just gonna make the first emoji play. Okay, so now, so after you do that and you let it compile and everything, if you select it, you can see what it provides so far. So when I double click this on my computer, it's gonna open up Visual Studio. Okay, now, so hopefully you have Visual Studio Code. In the old days, it was mono develop. You really could write this in just a plain text editor if you wanted to. It would work. Okay, so we need a few things here, and if you search the internet, you can you go to the Unity documentation. So I typed in the word Unity and I typed in animator, and I knew this thing called set trigger. So I wanted to get some example code here. We're gonna need to access the animator that we've been making our animations in, and if I just simply copy this, Command C, and then go to my editor, and I'm going to paste it right here. Whoops, okay, right there. And now we can access an animator. But the way they do it in here is they look for it at the start of this file. We're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it a different way. We're going to put this word public in front of it. Now, public does something really cool. When you hit save, it'll recompile the code here, and we need to add this. We need to attach this script onto something. We're going to attach it right to the button. So we're going to select the button, and if I hit these arrows so that these raise up, I can add a component. And I could click add component and look for this, or I could simply drag this right there. And now, because I wrote the word public, because I wrote this word right here, public, you'll notice now in Unity, the animator pulls up here because I made it public. So you can now find it there. And it's looking for, we need to insert an animator here. If I click this, we could find the one game object that has it on there, or we could simply, we know the animator is attached to this guy, right? So we see that this is the animator. So I need to go back to the button. I could look and see where that public field is now, and I could drag this in there, and it's now knows that it's attached to that animator. Okay? That might take some getting used to. And now in the animator, let's click the image and let's look at the animator. We have this plus sign here, and we could add some cool things here. So the first thing we're going to do for this tutorial is add a trigger. So it's gonna trigger and make this thing play, and we're gonna call this trigger how about we'll just say face 1, okay? And while we're at it, let's do face 2. Trigger face 2. And heck, we could put 5 of them, I suppose. Let's go trigger face 5. We'll do them all now. Face 5. Whoops, why did I skip right to 5? 3. And then we'll do the other ones later. Okay, so now, right now if we play this, it's going to go ahead and go right into the first animation. But we don't want it to do that. We want it to ease into this. So we want it to be still. Let's go control, create state, empty. And can we alter this? How do we want to do this? We want no motion. Let's go create. We want to. What I want to do actually is I'm going to rearrange this, and I'm going to turn this one into face animation 1. Animation 1, and it can't have, because we can't have 2 of them. I'm going to call this one idle. And then what I'm going to do is, with this first one selected, we're going to make none for the animation. And then this one here, we can get rid of that 0 now because I've changed the name of the original one. And I'm going to change this one to face animation 1. So when we push play, it will now, the idle will be playing, and there's none, the animation has none attached to it, so it won't just immediately play the face animation, okay? Let's get rid of that 0. It didn't seem to get rid of that 0. Okay, so I've rearranged some things. That might take you a little bit of getting used to, but you can see this arrow here goes right to idle. Now we're gonna work on this one thing here. We're gonna go control, click, and we're gonna say make transition. And I've started at the any state, so any state that we're at, it's gonna make a transition to face 1. But only if, and we click this little arrow right here, and you'll see this conditions window pop up. And we're gonna hit the plus sign and say, if the face 1 condition, if this trigger happens, then we go to face 1, okay? And so let's make that happen in code. So let me save all this. So again, if I push play, it's just gonna freeze there. But what we wanna happen is when we click this button, we wanna make it jump to that animation. And I think we can do that right now with the code. So we're gonna take a look at this. We can double click right here or double click here to get back to our editor. So we have the animator in the public field, and we're gonna create a function here. We'll say public void play face 1. Okay, and then we're gonna say animator, it's this name right there. You can copy and paste that if you don't want to type it. Animator and animator dot set trigger, and we've named it face 1, right? So we're gonna put it in quotes, face 1. And how do I know all this? Because I've done it before, and I've also looked at the reference here. So you can see right here, animator. Oh, that says reset. Animate set trigger. So it's going to set the trigger to face 1. So let's hit save. Let's go back to Unity. We still have a couple of things to do here before it actually works. So in button, we have the animator there, and we need to, for this button right here, we need to actually attach that function to it. So we click the plus sign here, and this right here is looking for a game object over in the hierarchy that has a script attached to it. And we attached the script to the button, didn't we? So we're gonna drag that into this field. And now it says no function, but we're gonna look up the function that we wrote, and it's in that code file called button emoji 1 script, and we're gonna say play face 1. So now I think everything's set up right. We're gonna hit the play button, and when I push this button, it set the trigger to face 1. Okay, and you might be wondering, hey, why is it looping? And we don't want that. So what we could do is select this, now double click it, and uncheck loop. Okay, and we could now push play and hit emote, and he goes to that. Okay, and then so in the next tutorial we'll write code files to make different buttons go to the different faces. Okay, have fun writing your first code. Have fun.